A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a landmark session, the Supreme Court has concluded its October 2024 term, leaving a significant mark on the intersection of church and state. This term was particularly notable for three pivotal church-state cases that have reignited long-standing debates around public funding for religious schools, the definition of religious exemptions, and parental rights in public education. However, it was the case of Mahmoud versus Taylor that emerged as the most consequential ruling, reshaping the landscape of parental rights and religious freedoms in the educational context. The first case, Oklahoma Statewide Charter School Board versus Drummond, raised critical questions about the permissibility of religious charter schools under the Establishment Clause. The Oklahoma Supreme Court had previously blocked a proposed Catholic charter school, St. Isidore, determining it to be a state actor rather than a private entity. This ruling was contested by St. Isidore, which argued that it should be treated like a private contractor involved in public programs, referencing past rulings in Espinoza and Carson. The Supreme Court's decision to hear the case was complicated by Justice Barrett's recusal, likely due to her ties to Notre Dame's Religious Liberty Clinic, resulting in a 4-4 split that upheld the Oklahoma ruling without establishing a legal precedent. The ambiguity surrounding the status of religious charter schools remains unresolved, suggesting that this issue may resurface in future litigation. In the second case, Catholic Charities Bureau versus Wisconsin Labor and Industry Review Commission, the court addressed tax exemptions for religious organizations. The case revolved around Wisconsin's policy that exempted nonprofits primarily operating for religious purposes. However, certain Catholic social service agencies were denied this exemption on the grounds that they did not limit their aid to co-religionists or engage in proselytization. The Supreme Court unanimously rejected this reasoning, with Justice Sotomayor stating that Wisconsin's criteria amounted to theological discrimination. This narrow ruling sidestepped broader constitutional questions regarding religious exemptions and the definition of religious exercise under the Free Exercise Clause. The most significant ruling of the term came from Mahmoud versus Taylor, where the court ruled 6-3 against a Maryland school district's policy that eliminated opt-out provisions for elementary students concerning LGBTQ+ inclusive storybooks. Initially, parents could opt their children out of these materials, but the district later rescinded this policy, prompting a lawsuit from parents of various faiths who argued that the policy infringed upon their free exercise rights. Justice Alito, writing for the majority, concluded that the policy significantly burdened parents' ability to guide their children's religious upbringing. The ruling underscored the conflict between state-endorsed messages on sexuality and gender and the teachings of various religious traditions. The court's decision drew parallels to Wisconsin versus Yoder, a 1972 case that favored Amish parents seeking exemptions from high school attendance. By invoking Yoder, the Supreme Court appears to be revitalizing the principles surrounding parental rights in education. The ruling highlighted the coercive nature of the curriculum, which pressured children to conform to state-sanctioned views, a stark reversal from previous cases where progressives warned against subtle coercion in schools. The conservative majority's focus on psychological pressure contrasts with the progressive dissent, which argued that exposure to diverse viewpoints is inherently educational rather than coercive. Mahmoud versus Taylor not only stands as a critical ruling for this term, but also signals a potential shift in how the Supreme Court views the balance between neutrality and indoctrination in public education. The implications of this decision may lead to a resurgence of parental rights litigation and a reevaluation of how constitutional rights are interpreted within the educational sphere. As the legal landscape continues to evolve, stakeholders in education, religion, and parental rights will undoubtedly be watching closely to see how these rulings shape future policies and practices. As we reflect on these significant rulings, it is clear that the Supreme Court is at a crossroads regarding church-state relations, parental rights, and the role of government in education. The outcomes of these cases will have far-reaching consequences, affecting not only religious organizations and educational institutions, but also the rights of parents to direct the upbringing of their children in accordance with their beliefs. The court's decisions this term may ultimately redefine the boundaries of religious freedom and parental rights in the United States, setting the stage for ongoing debates and legal challenges in the years to come. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.